In today's video, I'll be showing you guys a very easy to follow tutorial on how to make gigantic Pop-Tarts at home. And then after it's done, we'll get to see what happens when I try to finish the entire thing in one sitting. Because eating a giant Pop-Tart is a great way to find out exactly how much sugar it takes to make cardboard taste delicious. And more things you guys dared me to do in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up at whatever point you enjoy it. If we can get this video to 10,000 likes, I'll try to light a cigarette in my mouth with a taser. And even if we just get close, I'll probably do it anyways. All right, let's get this thing going. So I saw a lot of really cool comments in the last video. Most were daring me to eat giant food, but I think my favorite suggestion that I got was to make a gigantic Pop-Tart and eat it. As we all know, a Pop-Tart is a part of a balanced breakfast, but if you're a stoner, you might also eat them for lunch. Or dinner if you are a sad divorced old man. So Pop-Tarts are a food that most of us know and love. Unless you're eating one that's the size of a movie poster, in which case it will probably be your worst nightmare. That being said, welcome to the horror that is my life. The recipe that I have is incredibly simple. So this is actually one that I think anybody can make if you want to make a Pop-Tart at home. Although you might want to make your Pop-Tarts a bit smaller, so that way people won't think you're crazy, but we'll know. And yes, my hair is still messed up, whatever, let's get to cooking. And of course, after I'm done, I'm going to try to eat the entire thing. Even though my doctor dared me to stop doing these damn challenges. No, I'm just kidding, I'm actually in good health. But now let's get this thing going. So I'm actually going to be using a non-stick baking sheet to do all my prep work, because the Pop-Tart we're going to be making is about the size of this anyways, and I'm a little bit worried that it's going to be difficult to move around once it's done. But that being said, I usually have to alter these plans as we go anyways, so we'll just see what happens. The ingredients we're going to be using to make our Pop-Tart are flour, pie crust, and jam. Pretty simple. The flour is not even really an ingredient, we're just using that on our prep station. However, the icing has its own set of ingredients, and we'll get to that in a second. Now we're just going to get our prep station ready with a little bit of flour. Now we're going to take out our pie crust and roll it out into a Pop-Tart shape. Okay, so I bought a rolling pin, but it's too big for this stupid pan, so I'm just gonna mush the dough together with my fingers. The next step is adding your strawberry jam. That was basically like an entire jar of jam. We're using a total of 4 pie crusts to make this thing. Now we're just gonna get this out of the way. Now I'm gonna make the top of the Pop-Tart, and then I'll bring this back and set it on top. Alright, looks like we actually did something that wasn't stupid. Okay, now one thing that's very identifiable about every Pop-Tart is its crust. So I have to make sure that I get this part right. Okay, for the most part, my Pop-Tart is basically done. It's a huge, giant mess, and there's some Frankenstein stitches going right there across the middle. But all we have to do now is put this thing in the oven, wait for it to be done, we'll work on the icing. And after that, I'll be eating an essential part of my balanced last breakfast. Okay, I wanted to give you guys just one last look at this gigantic monster before I throw it in there. It's going to rise. It's going to get even bigger than this. I gotta admit, I'm a little bit afraid of this. At first I was thinking like, oh yeah, giant Pop-Tart, no problem. I bit off way more than I can chew. This is like a giant movie poster. I hope that it can maintain some rigidity because it has to actually be a Pop-Tart when I eat it. It can't just be like some mushy dough thing. But I am using pie crust, so it should get pretty crisp. Or crusty. That being said, I'm gonna stop stalling and throw this thing in the oven now. I'm gonna start by baking this thing at 350 for about 20 minutes. Well, it's been about 35 minutes, and my Pop-Tart is looking very Pop-Tarty. Nice. That looks perfect and hot. Some fun facts about this Pop-Tart. It is longer than my forearm, wider than 2 hands put together, and it will probably kill me. Alright, let's get this thing going. The first ingredient in your icing is going to be 2 cups of powdered sugar, or more depending on your desire for diabetes. Then half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of milk, then you mix it until it's all the same consistency and spread it on the Pop-Tart. So here I am with my finished product, or should I say arch nemesis, which I will now have to go into battle with. But before I do that, I just wanted to admire the absolute amazingness of it. If I was a stoner, this thing would be like a dream come true. However, this is not a dream, it's real life, which means after I'm done, it's going to be real death. No, I'm just kidding. It's not gonna be that bad. I might just end up puking a lot of Pop-Tart. Who hasn't been there before? Nobody? Okay. One of the things I was really worried about when I was making this thing is whether or not I was actually going to be able to pick up the entire thing without it breaking. And I did it! Oh my god! It's all still together! It's actually like a real Pop-Tart! I can't believe it! Now, as much as I'm dreading eating this entire thing, I'm actually kind of looking forward to taking the first bite because I really want to know what this thing tastes like. I mean, it's just pie crust and jelly, so it can't be that bad, right? Until you got an entire mouth. Ah! Well, it didn't stay together for that long, but sometimes Pop-Tarts break coming right out of the package. That's just how it goes. So the outer crust of the Pop-Tart still tastes like the outer crust of a Pop-Tart, which consists of 100% cardboard. Now, if you're like most people, you just break that stuff off before you eat the Pop-Tart. Because everybody knows the only thing worth eating in a Pop-Tart is the filling in the inside, and maybe the frosting. It's just weird eating so much of your least favorite part of a food, but I've been stalling enough, time to start putting this stuff away. It tastes just like a Pop-Tart. Like most of these eating challenges, I started out with a lot of hope and ambition, which would soon be crushed by reality. Much like my life. Well, unfortunately my Pop-Tart did not survive this thing, which is good because that might make 2 of us. Well, I've got a little bit more eating to do still, and probably a lot more puking, so I'm gonna get back to it. On the home stretch here, I definitely reached my limit. And with all the different giant candies I've been eating recently, when I go number 2 now, it looks like unicorn droppings. I think there's a saying that goes something like, you just can't polish a turd. Because my turd is already so glittery that there's, well, really no point. Well, if you believe in the saying you are what you eat, then I'm about 95% Pop-Tart right now. I just came about this close to vomiting. So after my near exorcist experience just now, this is what I have left of my giant Pop-Tart. And I'm sure a lot of you guys are saying, oh my god, look at how much Pop-Tart there is left. If somebody did this to your Pop-Tart, you'd be like, mother, you just ate my whole Pop-Tart. But either way, I'd say the second that it starts to come back up, then you are not completing the challenge at that point. If the point of the challenge is to take it down, then I feel like it's an automatic forfeit if you start doing that in reverse. But in the meantime, I'm always up for a good challenge, so make sure to leave me your dares in the comment section. Make sure to like the video. If you're new, subscribe. And everybody, make sure that you have your bell notifications turned on. It's definitely the best way to find my videos. But before you go, I wanted to offer you either a red pill or a blue pill. Take the blue pill to be delivered back to reality. Eat the red pill, see how deep the rabbit hole goes. Is that right? Is it blue to take you back? Either way, watch one of the playlists. All right, thanks guys, bye.